The economy was weak before the pandemic hit, before the new depression arrived. So we weren't all this talk about, the greatest economy in the history of the world. Well, if you're talking about nominal GDP, maybe, but growth during the Trump years was not any better than growth during the Obama years. They were about the same, actually. Now, the problem with economists, the PhD economists, the MIT and Harvard and Chicago crowd, is that they don't like the D word. They don't like the word depression for the reason you mentioned, which is it's not quantitative. They're real, but it can be somewhat subjective. Well, 60 million initial claims for unemployment, that's worse than the last 4 recessions combined. So you take the 2008 global financial crisis, the 2000 dot-com crisis, 1998 long-term capital management, 1994 the tequila crisis. The total initial claims in this recession, again, which I call a depression, are worse, higher than those 4 combined. That's how bad it is. People go, well, what's the problem? What are you talking about with a depression? The stock market's had an all-time high, and it is. The S&P, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and the NASDAQ have all hit new all-time highs since the pandemic hit. The S&P 500 is actually the S&P 7. It's Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, Netflix, and Tesla. Those 7 stocks are 40% of the total S&P. If you look at the other 493, they're flat to down. So who are the losers in this? Well, it's small and medium-sized enterprises, bars, restaurants, nail salons, dry cleaners, boutique shopping outlets, coffee shops, etc., bodegas, etc. And people look down their nose at that. They go, wow, they got 20 employees in a restaurant. Who cares? They're not as big as Apple Computer. I'm sorry. The small and medium-sized enterprises I just described are 50% of total jobs and 45% of GDP. When you hammer small business, you're hammering the U.S. economy. Most of the restaurants didn't reopen. They don't have that much working capital. I'm using restaurants as an example, but a boutique store, bodega, they don't have $5 million in working capital. They have revenues, they have expenses, they make a little money. So many of them, maybe most of them, are not reopening. These are permanent job losses. Walk up and down the streets of your town or the local strip shopping center. If you live in the city, go down to a major street. Every 3rd or 4th shop is for lease. They're boarded up. They're not reopening. Those jobs are not coming back. So half the economy's been hammered. A large percentage of that the losses are permanent. The jobs are not coming back. And that's why it's a depression. That's why it's going to last for a long period of time.